and to discuss what took place.
It's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? Now, we can't hear your recording, so we have no idea how accurately you interpreted or what important things you need to improve. But first of all, in case you were wondering, yes, in most cases, you should leave a session if someone is abusive to you. And it's not just about you. So here's Rosa's perspective. This type of situation has happened to her a few times, although usually the client is cursing the provider, not Rosa. And it's challenging for her. For one thing, she wasn't raised to say the bad words, and yes, she has to interpret them. She can't just say the client's using bad language. It's an ethical requirement for interpreters to interpret everything. Secondly, she's still not used to hearing abusive language in a professional environment. It's shocking. It's really hard to interpret when someone is messing with your emotions. Also, once she decides to leave, it's really hard for her to find the right words to say. Next, twice she has left the assignment because of this. And then she did ask herself if anything she could have done would have.
When on the left to read the story, then answer the first set of questions, then click the next button below to move to the next set of questions. Activity 10. So for the first freelance assignment, Rosa got called to her local high school to interpret for the parents of a boy who had injured himself playing football. The injury had just happened, so Rosa didn't have much time to prepare for the assignment, but she asked a few questions on the phone. She got the exact location and time, the contact information for the school health aide, and also learned that the boy might have a concussion. So she looked up the medical terms related to consciousness in a bilingual medical dictionary that she had on her phone. She didn't ask if the language was Spanish because she is a Spanish interpreter. When she got to the school, she asked to talk to the school health aide to learn more. The school health aide told her the parents had been called to pick up their son and take him to his doctor to urgent care. The father had just arrived and he was really upset and had a lot of questions. So they hurried into the health room. On the way, Rosa remembered to tell the health aide her introduction
aid,
aide. On the way, Rosa remembered to tell the health aide her introduction. She would interpret everything and keep it confidential. She asked the aide to speak directly to the parent and pause when Rosa raised her hand. When they got inside, the boy was awake, but a little groggy. Uh, okay, and confused. Dad wasn't just upset, he was very angry that the school had allowed this to happen. So angry that Rosa couldn't introduce herself to him. She had to just start interpreting. Then a lot of people spoke at once. At first, Rosa tried to get them to speak, one at a time, but then she gave up and summarized part of the meeting. Then, when the school health aide was typing answers into a form on the computer, the father flattered Rosa, saying how pretty she was and asked her for 300 to help him pay their mortgage. Rosa was so shocked she didn't interpret that. When the school health aide said something that Rosa couldn't hear, she asked for a repetition. When the dad used a slang word, she realized she didn't know what it meant and asked him to clarify it and let the health aide know what she was asking. But then Rosa quickly got back to interpreting. Okay, wait. Let me see here. Bang. 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 When the school health aide said something that Rosa couldn't hear, she asked for a repetition. When the dad used a slang word, she realized she didn't know what it meant and asked him to clarify it and let the health aide know what she was asking. But then Rosa quickly got back to interpreting. While the father went to the bathroom, the school health aide went to print a form for the dad to sign. When Rosa was alone with the boy, he quietly told her that his dad was tough and sometimes beat him with a belt of his fist or his fist for doing the wrong thing. But the boy told her not to tell anyone. Rosa didn't know what to do with this information because her interpreter training didn't mention it. So she didn't say anything when the dad and the school health aide came back. After he had took his son away, Rosa asked the school health aide if she had anything to say about her performance. The aide assured Rosa that overall she'd done a great job, but Rosa's face sometimes showed some distress. Rosa hadn't realized she was showing her own feelings and knew she shouldn't do so. So that was helpful information she got from the aide. Then Rosa asked what she should do if a child says something about his parent beating him. Oh my, said the aide. Did he really say that? I need to know exactly what he said. Rosa admitted that the boy had said that and then she interpreted everything she could remember about what the boy said. Oh, we have to report that to Child Protective Services, said the aide. Even though I don't know if it's true, asked Rosa. Yup, said the aide. Even it is just a suspicion of abuse. That's how things work in this country. We have 24 hours to report it. Thanks so much for telling me. Let me explain how reporting suspect child abuse work. So Rosa learned a lot in that debriefing. Afterward, she thought a lot about what happened and realized she hadn't interpreted everything. For example, she should have tried harder to get everyone to speak one at a time so she could interpret accurately and completely. And she also realized she had trouble interpreting some medical terms and symptoms the health aide said, like traumatic brain injury, slurred speech, death, seeing stars, and feeling like you are in a fog. And when the dad asks her for cash to help him pay his mortgage, she should have interpreted that too. Rosa learned a lot in that encounter. Step 1, preparation. True, false. Overall, Rosa behaved professionally in her preparation. Interpreter should ask questions about the assignments. Rosa didn't need to ask if the assignment was for Spanish because she is a Spanish interpreter. Rosa should have asked for extra time to prepare herself better. Rosa would benefit from having specialized glossaries for specific topics such as school, health, room, or head injuries. Yes. Step 2, briefing. Rosa had no time for a brief before the encounter. Ah, A briefing with the service provider. A briefing with the service provider is optional but helpful. Most community interpreters have very few briefings. Rosa had no time to ask the school health aide more questions. Stage 2 of the encounter. Step 3 introductions. Rosa performed a professional introduction for both parties. Her introduction to the aide was brief but complete. If Rosa had done a complete introduction for the father, the session may have been smoother. Community, including medical interpreters, should try to advise all parties that everything said that should be interpreted in the encounter. 4. Interpreting. Rosa interpreted everything. You don't have to interpret something that is said to you, not the other person. Rosa needed to interpret what the boy said to the aide. Rosa did the right thing by summarizing when everyone spoke quickly. Rosa should have interpreted the father's request to Rosa for a loan. In this session, it was truly necessary for Rosa to intervene. If you heard a formal term that you don't understand and you can interpret, you need to intervene. Rosa was too quick. She should have taken more time when she intervened. Rosa did not need to intervene for the slang word she didn't know it. Rosa had a debriefing with the aide. Rosa should have had a debriefing with the father. A debriefing is an analysis you do on your own after the session. A debriefing can be a chance for you to share your feelings, questions, and concerns with the provider after an encounter. Most community and medical interpreters get a debriefing after the encounter. An analysis is a mental process you go through after the encounter to assess how it went and what you could do better. Rosa engaged in a reasonably professional analysis of her performance. Rosa made some decisions based on her analysis. The main thing that Rosa focused on in her analysis was her feeling about the encounter. Three stages of the encounter: before, during, after.
Made the situation go more smoothly. In both cases, she decided that no, there really wasn't anything she could have done, because it's not the interpreter's job to manage the clients. If anyone does that, it has to be the service provider, not the interpreter. All Rosa could really do in those cases was interpret. So we hope this or leave. She chose to leave. And she thinks that was the right decision. Finally, in both cases, she interpreted everything the client said, and she only left when the situation got completely out of control. So no, she wouldn't change anything. Yeah, it was tough.
So we hope this module
Some
will help you to
situations in
get a
community
sense of how
interpreting
community...
are tough. The question is whether she handled the situation professionally. Rosa thinks she did. We agree with her.
Ask for detail ahead of time. Try hard to prepare terminology to a professional introduction. Interpret everything. Intervene rarely and briefly, and engage in regular analysis.
So we hope this module will help you to get a sense of how community interpreting assignments work.
Down. Boop.